Kazim's world ended not with a bang, but with the texture of rough-hewn stone against his cheek. One moment he was submerged in the sublime comfort of 1,000 thread-count Egyptian cotton. The next he was lying on cold, damp earth, the scent of pine and loam suffocating the last memory of his jasmine-scented pillows. Pitch blackness, absolute and profound, pressed against his eyes. This was not the curated dark of his sleep chamber. This was a visceral, swallowing void. Panic, cold and sharp, injected itself into his veins. He scrambled to his feet, his hands scraping against unseen rocks. "Hello?" His voice was a pathetic croak, swallowed by the immensity of the night. He ran. There was no direction, only the primal need to escape the nothingness. His screams were torn from him, raw and guttural, the sounds of a creature being unmade. Finally, his body betrayed him. His lungs burned, his legs buckled, and he fell to the ground, the impact jarring his teeth. He lay there, gulping air, the taste of dirt and despair on his tongue. Then a sliver of gray pierced the horizon. The sun's first rays, hesitant and weak, revealed a nightmare made real. He was in a high valley, surrounded by jagged, snow-capped peaks. And there, etched against the bleeding dawn, at the summit of the nearest mountain, was a hut, a pinpoint of hope. Fueled by a final reservoir of adrenaline, Kazim ran, his designer clothes snagging on thorny brush. He was almost there, his hand reaching for the rough timber of the hut's wall, when they emerged from the shadows between the trees. They moved with a silent, predatory grace, surrounding him. Their faces were etched with weathered lines, their eyes holding a flat, dangerous light. They brandished spears tipped with sharpened obsidian, the points hovering inches from his face. A drum began to beat, a low, frantic rhythm that seemed to come from the earth itself. They herded him, shouting in a guttural tongue, into a village square centered around a large, ominous hut. "O leader, a strange guest!" one of them bellowed. The hide flap of the large hut was thrown aside, and a man emerged, Carter. He was not the largest of them, but his authority was a physical force, radiating from his still posture and his piercing, ice-blue eyes. He looked at Kazim, who knelt trembling in the dust, certain of a swift and brutal death. Carter's voice, when it came, was low, yet it vibrated through the very ground. "Get up." Kazim obeyed, his legs shaking. "Who are you? A scout from the Sun Eaters?" Carter demanded, his gaze dissecting Kazim's soft hands and strange garments. I'm no one. I just woke up here. My name is Kazim. I'm an inventor." The words sounded absurd, even to him. Carter's lip curled. An inventor. He spat the word like a curse. "We have no need for tricks. Take him to the pit." They threw him into a deep, muddy hole, a prison carved into the earth. For days he languished there, fed scraps, his mind racing in frantic, useless circles. He was a problem solver, a man with 600 patents to his name, yet he was utterly defeated by primitive savages. Then the attack came. Another tribe, the Sun Eaters, swarmed the village. The air filled with the sounds of clashing weapons, war cries, and the sickening thud of bodies falling. When it was over, the valley echoed with the moans of the wounded. Carter's tribe had been decimated. Leaning against the cold mud wall of his pit, Kazim saw his chance. "Hey!" he shouted, his voice cracking. "Listen to me. I can help you. Let me out. Give me a chance. I can give you weapons. You can wipe them out one by one. Then you release me." From above he heard laughter, harsh and mocking. They did not pay him any mind. The depth of their dismissal was a colder prison than the pit itself. But a few nights later, as a brittle cold settled over the valley, Kazim heard footsteps. Not the shuffling gait of his guard, but a purposeful, heavy tread. Carter stood at the edge of the pit, his silhouette blocking the stars. "Stranger," he whispered, the word a cloud of frost in the air. "Do you truly have a solution for that?" The spark of hope flared into a blaze. "Yes," Chasm said, his voice thick with fervor. "I do." The next day, he was hauled out, blinking in the weak sunlight. He was a different man now. The initial terror had been refined into a sharp, focused purpose. He demanded materials: strong, flexible wood, sinew, animal hides, specific types of stone, clay, and charcoal. The tribespeople watched, their expressions a mixture of sarcasm and bewildered curiosity, as this soft man from nowhere pointed at their possessions with an unnerving authority. Kazim, the visionary who had designed smart city infrastructures, now applied his genius to the principles of torsion and tension. He conducted reconnaissance, studying the enemy village's layout from a safe ridge. He saw their patterns, their vulnerabilities. His first creation was a simple bow, but on a massive scale. A ballista, he called it in his mind. He used cured sinew for the torsion springs, a giant frame of lashed timber, and carved sleek projectiles. He showed them how to crank it, how to aim. Their skepticism began to waver, replaced by a dawning, fearful amazement. Next, he devised clay pots, filling them with charcoal, sulfur, and a crude nitrate paste he concocted from available minerals, creating a primitive but potent incendiary. He was no longer their prisoner. He was their sorcerer, their savior. On the night of the raid, he was at the forefront, dragging the ballista to a strategic overlook. The tribe moved with a new, silent confidence. Carter gave the signal. Kazim himself lit the fuse on the first clay pot. It soared through the night, a trailing arc of fire, and smashed into the heart of the Sun-Eater's village. A bloom of orange and yellow erupted, followed by screams of confusion and terror. Then the ballista sang its song of destruction, its massive bolts tearing through huts and flesh with impersonal efficiency. The tribe descended, their attack now a crushing, coordinated slaughter. Kazim watched, his heart pounding not with fear, but with a terrifying, exhilarating pride. He had done this. He had reshaped their world. In the midst of the chaos, a stray spear, flung by a dying Sun-Eater, flew toward Carter. Without thinking, Kazim shoved the leader aside, taking the glancing blow on his own arm. The pain was searing, real. Carter looked at him, his ice-blue eyes wide with something that was not gratitude, but a profound, unsettling recognition. As the enemy village burned, a strange silence fell over Kazim. The adrenaline faded, and the reality of what he had orchestrated settled in his gut like a stone. He had created a masterpiece of destruction. He looked at his hands, stained with soot and his own blood. He had never felt more powerful or more monstrous. He sat down against a rock, cradling his wounded arm, watching the embers of the civilization he had helped erase dance in the wind. Exhaustion claimed him. The scent of jasmine, the embrace of soft cotton. Kazim's eyes snapped open. He was in his bed, his pristine, silent, temperature-controlled apartment. The early morning light of the city filtered through his smart glass windows. It was a dream, a vivid, horrifying, impossibly real dream.